If you're a business owner or a founder, you've found a place to talk. If you've ever said to yourself, I should have figured this shit out by now, and I didn't, and boy, I don't understand, this is starting to hurt. This Connect and Convert podcast is for you. Welcome to Connect and Convert. I'm Dennis. The lovely looking lady is Leah, and the smart looking gentleman, the astute, we used to call him producer Paul. He's now Paul Boomer. So welcome, guys. We've spent decades, in some circles, over 100 years combined. I know, don't laugh. It's mostly me. I know. Listening to what business owners don't say out loud. They don't say to their teams. They don't even say it to their spouse because it's real pressure and it's real embarrassing. And those are the real moments that decide how that business is going to grow or not, or quietly stalls. Connect and Convert is the place where these conversations actually happen. So we have designed a format here called the Confessions of Small Business Owners, the Confessions of Small Business Founders, right? And we have some deep, dark, secret, private confessions that no one has ever heard that we are going to share with you, our audience, so that you know you're not alone. Okay?
I was going to say,
Are
actually,
we
Dennis,
ready?
I was going to say everybody's heard. They just don't know others have
Okay.
heard it.
That's excellent. Good reframe. I like that. So today's topic, today's confession, turn your volume down. We don't want anybody to hear this, okay? It's quiet, okay? If my revenue stream is really broken, I have zero confidence that I would know it in time to actually do something about it. Come to think of it, even if I did know it was broken, I'm not sure what I would do about it, okay? I just don't have any early warning signs. Every sign I have, every metric I have is a lagging indicator. By the time I see it happening, it's already happened, obviously. I wouldn't see it. I know deep down that hope is not a strategy, but I can tell you I still hope that next month and every month will always be as good as my best month. So I guess my fear is, how long can I just keep hoping? I guess as long as I want. But what good does it do? Leah
Well,
and
it's
Paul, this is a true confession. This is real. This hurts. This really hurts, doesn't it? They just don't have confidence that they're going to be able to have a repeatable sales process that brings stable to growing revenues. That's an awful feeling. I've had that feeling at times in my life. It's
mhm.
not fun. It's not fun. What do you think?
How did we do what we did, and how do I know I can keep doing it, and how will I know when it's slowing down? That's
So
kinda
you're
right?
you're saying you're saying kind of deconstruct the process?
Yeah, I like to go back. I feel sorry for this person.
I
This
do
is, like,
too.
the saddest
Because
moment.
that person was me at one time.
I'm picturing this. It's Friday, everybody else is gone for beers. It's 7:30.
Yep.
Your spouse and kids are busy in activities, and you're looking and you're just going, okay, we did it this week. How are we gonna do it next week? And
Yeah.
the lagging indicators, like, those are the ones that happen but what's more important is the lead indicators, right? You gotta have the lead indicators and have those as tactics so that you have a clear indicator why the lag indicators are there. That's lots of indicators.
Okay. So let me jump on that because that's a critical point. Um, Most business owners are probably very good at seeing lagging indicators, right? You know, how much did we sell last month? How many units? What was our unit price? What's our closing percentage? Those are all lagging indicators, right? Those
Yeah.
tell us what happened. Leah, what is a leading indicator? I'm a small business owner. I have no idea what's a leading indicator.
Okay.
The
I'm
weather, the
I'm
times the sun rose or set. I mean, what's the leading indicator?
Can I actually? I'm gonna ask Leah to hold that for just a second.
Okay.
Oh, of
So
course.
this isn't a fear of failure, right? It's a fear of not seeing something coming.
Right.
Okay, I
Well,
just want to get
that
that.
a
Yep.
fear a fear of impending failure. Yeah, if I
Okay,
don't see it coming, I can't do anything to head it off.
okay.
2 questions. What First of all, how do I see it coming? And second question, when I see it coming, what the hell should I do about it? 2 questions.
So you asked about the lead indicators, and I always found it really to take it outside of the industry. Let's look at it under a different microscope, something completely different. Paul and I are going to run a half marathon, Dennis, and
Are
we are
you?
run. Yep.
Did Paul know this?
He didn't
Paul
know.
didn't know?
He didn't know, but we're running a
Okay.
half marathon.
And he
We are
agreed, huh?
Yeah, he's all in, and it
Sure.
is on, it's July 4th, even though
Yeah,
up in
July
Canada
4th.
we're not celebrating, it's July 4th. So that is our lag indicator. On July 5th, we will know if we achieved our goal,
Yeah.
because our
Well,
lag
that'll be a
indicator will be we ran the marathon.
right, right.
But does that mean I'm not a success from now until July the 5th when I do it? No, because that's where the lead indicators come in. So I've got February, March, April, May, June. I've got 5 months to create the tactics, the lead indicators to take me to where my actual goal is. But without these, there's no way I can feel successful. There's no
Okay.
way I can know if I'm going to do it or just fall on my face. There's no way if I'm going to that I know if I'm gonna beat Paul's time the way we betted $500 on this, so damn it, I'm gonna beat his time. So that means for every week leading well, for every month leading up to it, I have to have accomplished something. Then for every week within those months I need to do, those are my lead indicators. So I can know week to week, am I on track? And that's what this
Mm.
business owner wants to know. How do I know? So if his lag indicator is being is gross having gross sales of $1,000,000 in the next
Yep,
52 weeks,
yep.
then we can break that down in the same way, know what you need to do, and every week you know, am I doing what do my lead indicators tell me? Am I doing it?
That's complicated,
That's
Leah. That
easiest
my
thing in the
mind
world.
is my
Okay,
mind
so
is oh,
I'm gonna
I don't
I'm going to
agree, but
slow this down a little bit, Dennis, because you've lived this clearly, and you mentioned that is
I have.
I want
I
to
have.
know for you what are the behaviors, what things happen when you're living inside of a lag organization, and
Ooh.
what rationalizations do you give yourself, and then also what are the costs of living only inside of a lag organization? So first
Mm.
off, what
Well,
behaviors? What?
okay, well, what behaviors in a lag organization or
Yeah.
well, reactive. I mean, you're reacting to something that already happened, right? You say, "Oh, geez, my January sales suck. I'm below budget by $1,000,000. Now what?"
Okay. And if
Okay.
you're a lag
I'm reacting.
organization, okay, and if you're a lag organization, then what are you celebrating in those times?
Generally, you're celebrating when you hit a metric. If you have a good month, okay, we celebrate, "Oh, we did it. We hit the goal." Or, you might have some KPIs, closing percentages, average order. There's a whole list of KPIs that you can look at.
Mhm.
Almost every business, as Leah said, those are easy to get.
Right.
Those are all on apps and programs.
So let's
You can get
say
all the lagging indicators you want.
right. So let's say okay, you're lagging you're a lagging organization, and I mean that in the lagging metrics. Um, when you celebrate those best months or best KPIs, what are you doing internally though? How does it feel internally
Feels
yourself as a
good.
leader?
When you when
But
you
what else are you
when you
doing?
look
Are you
back and celebrate, we had a good month, we had a good quarter, we had a good year, and
okay?
whatever
But what about
KPI
next
we
month?
use to measure that, we worry about next month when you're a
Really?
lagging.
Because
Well,
most
yeah,
that's
a
interesting.
lagging company does, yeah.
Well, that's
Yes.
interesting because what I've experienced is that most organizations in this position, yeah, they're celebrating today's KPIs. Yeah, we rocked it, but they're also silently bracing for what's next. We don't know what's going to happen next month. So yeah, we have to celebrate this one.
Well, remember, my confession is I don't know how to do this.
Right.
Okay. The
But
confession, we're dealing with a confession with a guy who says, I have no confidence that I could see it coming, which means I have no leading indicators.
right.
Right.
A lag indicating led company is always going to be focused on the
Thank you.
adrenaline rush of getting it done.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going on holidays next week. That means I have an unbelievable to-do list to get finished, and I get it done Friday, 5 o'clock by working like crazy, and I think, "Man, if I could capture this energy every week," but I can't because I'm focused on this lag indicator. With a company, with an organization, as you get towards the end of your fiscal year, fiscal starts September 1st, man, in August, you are just, oh, you're so close to your desk because that final bit of adrenaline, and you own it. And you
Well,
can't live like that.
So you're
but
you're you're you're
that's how
borrowing.
I'm sorry.
So
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
the confidence is borrowed from the past.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we
And
did it,
fear of the
and
future. The
well,
adrenaline comes from fear of the future.
that was my confession, wasn't it? I am fearful for the future. I didn't say anything about celebrating the past. I mean, yeah, we do that. We acknowledge the past. We give bonuses. We give this, that, the other, but that's lagging,
And
you
I
know.
I disagree with you a little bit, Paul, because it's not just from the past. You can only borrow from the past if the past has been successful. Then that adrenaline carries
Well,
you on. If I've had a crappy end to the month or the quarter, I've got I'm depleted. This confession, the guy's depleted.
Okay, so yeah, but let me share this. Uh, I reframed years ago what failure means. Okay. To most people, failure means you screwed up. You did not do what you said you were going to do. I think it's only failure if you didn't learn anything from it. So I deconstruct both when I was running radio stations, I deconstructed both success and failure. And why did I do that? I wanted to know why we lost and I wanted to know why we won. Does that make sense?
I don't know where it is right now on my crazy desk, but I have a post-it somewhere that says, "Failure is not failure. Failure is only information."
It's information. It's a lesson.
Ooh, I
It's
like
a
that.
lesson. It's a lesson. Yeah. So to answer your question more directly, Paul, what did I do to make myself more of a leading indicators instead of lagging indicators, right?
No,
And I'll
I'm
t-
what I was actually trying to do, but yeah, we should get onto that as well. But what I was
okay,
trying to do is pull out, okay, what does it feel like? Because I think this is such a big conversation, actually, that there's so many different things that happen when you are a
okay.
lag induced organization, and not realizing that. Believe me, you're not the only one, but it's not
Oh, I
always the
know.
smart. Yes,
That's why we put this
right.
conversation out
So
there
I
because
want to make
a
sure.
lot of people have this.
Right. So I want to make sure to normalize it in such a way that, hey, you're not the only one.
No,
And if you're feeling
clearly
these
not.
things, well, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what do you do as you
Okay.
transform, as you turn, as you reframe from leading?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, from lagging to leading.
I'll tell you what, I can share my experience personally and then others that I've worked with. But personally, I had to create indicators that I had faith in that I could look at 60, 90, 120 days out and start to see what it was shaping up to look like. So this is, I know this is archaic, guys. This was before the days we had all these computer apps. We didn't even have computers at one point. I mean, I remember when computers got introduced into business. I know I'm old. It's okay. Um,
You're
and
wise.
Dennis, we all remember.
no,
Yes, we do.
some of you don't, but
No,
I do.
I
So
do.
I'll tell you
I
what
do.
I did. I'll tell you what I did. My business manager, very smart and capable person, and our IT director, once we finally got computers, we sat down and said, how can we create a predictive model that can make predictions about what we are going to do 30, 60, 90, 120 days out? And they looked at me like I was crazy. That's impossible. I said, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's possible. Let's just figure out how to do it. Guess what? We did it. One of my biggest regrets in life is that we did not create that as a product that we could sell to other people. Because at that point, the radio business that I was in, there was no such product. Now they're everywhere. But back then, we'd be having a different conversation if I'd have found a way to take that to market. Because we actually found a predictive model based on history. We had to get back into the history, and we had to build this manually. There was no way to do it, you know. So does that answer your question? We built a model. It didn't exist, and it was expensive. It was hard to do and expensive. And I wonder how many of our small business owners say, "Screw it, that's too expensive and too hard." I don't
How
know.
did you get the data?
Well, we had the data. You know, I'm talking about history, sales history. You know, we didn't have complete data because we started collecting data at some point that we didn't have historically. Okay. So we had some new data that we created. And so we started tracking that from the time that we started tracking it. And that helped us too.
Okay,
So that was
we
pure
had
sales. Pure sales numbers is what you were tracking.
we had a little bit more than that, but not much.
okay, so
And we could see, for instance, if I looked 60 days ahead, what percent of sellout, because you know radio station has a finite number of spots. We're only going to sell so many spots. So I could look out 60, 90, 120 days and say, what's our level of sellout? Okay. What is our average unit price? How much are we charging on average per spot? And if we sell out at 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%, what's the prediction? What's the model predicting about the revenue? So it became a model that involved price, unit price, and percent of sellout. At 100% sellout at this unit price, this is my revenue. I can predict it.
with all that information, Dennis,
Yeah, right.
is what is I'm trying to phrase this in such a way that it makes sense. You have all this data. With all that data, what is the biggest risk?
Well, the biggest risk is not knowing what it means. But, you know, you can throw all kinds of data on a spreadsheet, but how do you interpret it?
So is
And we
so
had to learn. We had to make rules to interpret. We had to make up rules to say, okay, when this condition, when these two or three conditions exist, this is what's likely to happen. Does that
so
make
are
sense?
you saying one of the biggest risks is actually not knowing what to watch? Because you can have
Yeah.
30,000 different pieces of data, but you only need to watch, this
No,
500.
yeah, but we limited the data. There was more data we could have
Okay.
looked at, but we
Okay, so
limited it to the stuff that we felt would predict our future outcomes,
okay.
that would predict a slump, right? Predict some kind of problem. So we had early enough warning to do something about it.
Got it.
Does
So
that
you
make
knew
sense?
what to watch, what to look for, and that's one of the biggest
Right.
things.
Well, we
So
had to learn over time. We
Okay.
learned what to look for. Yeah.
when I was like as a marketing person, as a salesperson, someone who made money selling, paid commission, I was always very goal oriented. I knew my
Right.
numbers, I knew where they were going, I had to know that. What I found is you can be too numbers driven as you're trying to figure things out.
You
And so I
can.
would actually on a weekly basis track tactics. What are it had to be between 3 and 6 things that I am doing this week to help me achieve this goal. At the
Right.
end of a week, usually on a Sunday, on a weekend, I look at those 6 things that I was gonna do. This one I did, this one I did, this one I only did halftime. But you figure out your percentage of conformance. What did you actually do? And if I'm hitting I remember having a couple of weeks in a row hitting 35%. I'm never going to achieve what I wanna do because I'm not hitting and those
Right.
tactics, those it's not a to-do list, but it changes every week. And pick your poison, gents. You could do it over a 3-month or a 6-month time frame, but you can't do it over a 52
Okay.
week.
So I would say, Leah, that is more of a sales process to me in that you're listing the activities that you need
Yeah.
to perform to get to a certain goal. What I was looking for was a predictive model. Now that would help. Yes, that and we eventually did that where
Okay.
we listed benchmarks. Okay, there's 10 benchmarks that we now know that if we're not hitting certain benchmarks by a certain point in the quarter or the year, we're in trouble. We're not hitting those benchmarks. But I consider that more of a process thing than
Okay.
what we're talking about here, which is uh, having early warning signs. It could give
That's
you that. It could give
But
you
this
that.
is how you involve your people, your team. Maybe at the
Correct.
management level, you need to have what you're talking about, but I'm talking about data that is not just numbers
Correct.
driven. I wanna
Yeah,
know what my 10 people working for me are doing.
and one of the big problems that I've noticed, not only when I was running businesses, but when I consult, is just that. They set a goal, but they fail to set activity benchmarks. Okay,
Yes.
they don't have a process. That's what a sales process is. It's a map. It's a roadmap to get to your goal.
So
Okay,
so we're talking
and they
where
fail to
activity
set this.
meets data.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they do need to meet. So,
Yes.
but yeah, that's so back to the confession. Do you think what we've been talking about here would actually help a small business owner get some confidence? What are we telling? What are you hearing? What are we trying to tell? Summarize what we've said in what ways that they could say, yeah, that could help me get some more confidence in my revenue generation. What stood out?
You gotta know where you are to know where you're going,
Mm.
right? You gotta know you gotta have a map, and if you're not I mean, this is the power of information, right? This is the power using it in a way to go, okay, based on past performance, if I'm doing this, I'm on the right track. Otherwise, you are buying danger, danger, danger from 6 months in the future or 3 months in the future. And if you're working your business like that, that's just a tragedy waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
This confession isn't about the numbers. It's about timing. It's about, can I see reality early enough to actually lead?
I like that. That's a good summary. Can
Yeah.
I see reality early enough to do something about it, right? To take a leadership position.
Yeah.
So, have you guys found anything in your lives? Leah mentioned her setting up some activities. Paul, what about you? How would you coach a client who has this problem?
Well, first I want to know, going back to the word clarity, it's
Hey, there it
yes,
is
there
again.
it is. There's that word
Say the
clarity.
word clarity, get
Clarity,
$100.
clarity, clarity, clarity.
Yes.
Um, is how clear is the owner, the leadership team, especially the leadership team, based on the owner, how clear are they on what they're trying to achieve? Let's just, and
Okay.
I'll just take it. Let's just keep it in the HVAC industry. They're trying to. Their primary goal is to typically sell new units. Okay,
Mm,
great.
yes.
What leads to new units? Well, you backed it up. Well, typically, getting a new customer to buy an $18,000 piece of equipment is pretty damn hard. That takes a lot of trust. Okay, well,
Yeah,
why
I would
don't
say.
you start with something a little smaller? What about just repair? Okay, let's get them in the door first. So let's go back to, how many people do you need to reach out to invite them to call you to help with repair? And once you are in the door, how do you help keep them in your inner circle through club memberships or something,
Right.
so that it's more natural to say, hey, yes, I already have a relationship with this organization. So it's just looking at all these little steps and asking, again, the owner and the leadership team, what is it that you're trying to do? Let's gain clarity. And what is the easiest path to that thing?
Hmm.
And if there is no clarity, or the clear is as clear as mud, You got to put some more water in it, and you got to loosen it up, and you got to be able to see through it. And I see Leah
So,
here kind of, I don't know.
she's
Well,
saying, maybe, maybe not, she says.
no, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm thinking about most business owners, and the woo-woo kind of scares them. The idea that something that you can touch and tangible is there's comfort there. And we're talking HVAC. I think that comes from a lot of these people. They came from working on the tools. That's what they learned. It's pretty easy. This is what you're doing. And we're sponsored by worcesteracademy.org because and that's a non-traditional business school. They're almost as non-traditional as the three of us. Because really, what we advocate for people is a little bit different than the tangible. I mean, you need the tangible and you need the ability, but it's a lot can be solved by 5 minutes of quiet.
Oh, Leah, you speak my language.
A lot can be solved by 5 minutes of quiet. So
And
we just turn the mics off here for 5 minutes and let's see what happens.
I challenge everybody listening and put it in the comments. Tell me how this works for you because this is the beginning of a coaching process I do with people. And I want you to set your timer for 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 10 seconds. And I want you to sit somewhere you're not going to be disturbed and just close your eyes. Don't worry because the timer's going to go off. You're going to know when it's 5 minutes. When you do that, amazing things happen. And that's just the beginning of what can
Amazing.
happen.
Wow.
Slow down to speed up.
Slow down. Another phrase. Slow down to, boy, we're just coining phrases all over the place here, aren't we? Well
We need
done,
t-shirts.
guys. Hey, Paul, remind t-shirts. Yeah. Remind our wonderful audience about our free stuff. Would you
Most
mind?
certainly. If you find any of this helpful and that you want to, excuse me. Hold on. I'm dealing with this wonderful,
Yeah.
anyway.
Lovely cold. Yes.
Cigars and whiskey.
It's
throat is what
yeah, I'll
we
just say
call it.
that.
Yeah.
Cigars and whiskey. If you want something that you can tangibly hold in your hand and guide you through some of this stuff, go to the show notes of this episode and
Yes.
any episode of Connect and Convert and drop your email in, and we will send you immediately a PDF that is the Founder's Small Business Owner Sales Trust Playbook.
Sales
And
Trust Playbook.
What you'll also find is that we'll start adding little bits onto this playbook through time, and we'll automatically email you when new ones come out.
Yes.
So this is not
You'll
just
be
a
the
one and done
first to
thing.
know. Yes.
Yes. So you'll gain a growing library of playbooks, but you'll find them in the
library of playbooks.
Yep, you'll
yeah.
find them in
free.
free. You'll find them in the show notes of this episode
Wait
and
a
all
minute. What do you
episodes.
mean free? I didn't approve that. What the heck? Free?
Oh my gosh,
Free?
Leah.
I'll buy you a whiskey and some cigars.
Free.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay, but free in Canada too. I don't want your American dollars to be a deterrent.
Oh God. No, there's
Free
a tariff on.
US.
No, there's
Free-
a tariff on this. We're putting a tariff on this. Paul's the minister of tariffs.
Whoa. I
Put
never
a
And
agreed
tariff
to
we're
this.
off. And we're off.
And we're up. Yeah.
Gents, this was a good one. This was very good.
Okay, well, let me just summarize. You've been listening to Connect and Convert, honest conversations for small business owners and founders. Better decisions are yours. Tune in every episode of Connect and Convert. See you soon.